Hi dear students, in today's session we are going to take up the next lesson, that is Kingdom Animalia. So as it is in R.H. Whittaker's classification of 5 kingdom method, this is the last kingdom which was explained, and it was there in all the 5 different type of kingdoms classification: 2 kingdom classification, 3 kingdom classification, 4 kingdom and also 5 kingdom. It is 4 different types of systems of classification which was given in different times of worldwide scientists who worked on this. And we are going to take up the animal kingdom now. Right now we will go to the general properties directly, as it possesses many different characteristic features which helps to adopt in various different habitats, diverse habitats. It may be present in the aerial mode, or it may be present in the water, or also in case of terrestrial region. So even in case of any of the 3 different type of habitats, they can be present differently in different regions. So you need to understand it well, and along with this I wanted to convey you all that you have to focus on this session, which will be very helpful to understand in detail properties of all the organisms which is required to answer for the CET questions and also for understanding of the animal groups, and which becomes the basis for many different properties and also concepts. So that is why if you are not understanding it properly while listening the classes, you just go through the same video once again, or just go through the limited part of time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes like that, and you can able to analyze and understand it properly. Right now, so here we will discuss with the general properties. General properties of an organisms which comes under animal kingdom. So various criteria have been taken from R.H. Whittaker to explain the organisms. So on that basis, these organisms almost all are eukaryotic. These are eukaryotic organisms. Eukaryotic organisms, and they are lack with cell wall. Outer cell wall is absent, and next is plastids and also vacuoles. So these structures are absent when you observe the cell structure. If you consider a cell structure of animal cell, you are able to observe the absence of cell wall, plastids and vacuole. And later on, the outermost layer, here in outermost protective layer will be outermost layer is plasma membrane. Or it is also called as cell membrane. So this is also called as cell membrane. And when you come to the absence structures, so here plastids and vacuoles are absent. So for this, due to the absence of plastid, they are non-photosynthetic, and due to the absence of this condition, autotropism, they become dependent on other organisms. That means they depend on autotrophs. So that's why these organisms are heterotrophic. heterotrophic organisms. In this you can again find out few of the organisms are parasitic. A diverse group of parasitic organisms are also found. Few are coming in one of the phyla called as flatworms or Platyhelminthes, and also few group of organisms which are present in Arthropoda and in class Insecta. So insects allu kuda ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಇದ್ದಾವೆ, ಅವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ parasitic ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. And also in few groups flatworms and ringworms, so which can live inside the body of other organisms and are called as parasitic, which get the nutrition and also shelter from the other organism called as host. Right now heterotrophic mode of nutrition is observed in case of organisms which comes under animal kingdom. So next is, as these organisms exhibit locomotion as a main property, as these are not stationary and have a strong locomotory structures which helps in locomotion for displacement from one region to other. Displacement from one to other region. See here, I will ask you one question that you need to are able to answer for this within a fraction of second. Why these are heterotrophic? Are they have the capacity to displace from one region to other region? ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿರೋ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಹೀಗಿದೆ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಟಿರೋಟ್ರೋಪಿಕ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸು, ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ರೀಜನಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರೀಜನ್ಗೆ ಲೋಕೋಮೋಟ್ ಆಗೋ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗೋ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ. ನೀವು ಲೋಕೋಮೋಷನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಎರಡೂ ಒಂದೇ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, because in the previous test you have written that function of a flagellized movement anta few members bardidira. See, there is a difference between displacement and movement. Movement, it refers to I am standing like this. If I do any actions, see, I am using my hand, or I can change my structure of head, configuration changes ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, and I can rotate my leg, or I can rotate my hands, and these all called as movements. And we are not we are going from one place to other, and we are replacing our origin place. ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಂದ ಈ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ರೀಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಲೋಕೋಮೋಷನ್ is mandatory for these organisms, and they can displace from one region to other region. Give reason anta kelti. So as these are heterotrophic organisms and they are depend on other organisms for their food, here they lack with the capacity to fix the sunlight, and they have not have the capacity to convert the sunlight or heat energy into chemical energy. Where there is a food, they have to replace to that region or displace to that region. So for this reason only they have the capacity to locomote from one place to other. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಅವು ಇದ್ದತ್ರನೇ ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಡ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು ಸೆಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ದೇ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಫೋಟೋಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್. ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಟು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ದ ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ is also absent. So that's why they have to reach to other places where there is a food, right? So this is the one reason where they can have the capacity of locomotion. And next is, these possess a very strong neuromotor sensory structure. Neuromotor sensory structures which are under the control of nervous system also. See here, in case of all the organisms, they have eyes, nose, skin and also tongue and also the ears as a sense organs. They can have the capacity to receive the stimulus and to respond to the stimulus. So, this capacity is present only in case of animals. So, that is why they possess neuromotor sensory structures and are called as sense organs. Sense organs which are under the control of nervous system also. And next property, they have the capacity to reproduction process in two different ways, where the lower organisms are exhibiting, lower one exhibit asexual method of reproduction and higher level organisms exhibit sexual method only. Advanced sexual method of reproduction is present in case of higher organisms, and in case of lower organism they have the asexual method. See, if you observe the hydra, one of the coelenterate hydra which is attached to the substratum, by just by budding it forms a formation of a other new individual. So, as this is a parental individual which can rise up buds, and from that bud it will get detached to become a new one. So, this type of method of reproduction is present and it is called as asexual method. So, it is called as budding, one of the asexual method of reproduction. And one more thing you have observed in your daily life, a lizard which is moving, crawling on the walls, by mistake it is going to lose its tail structure, or you are going to close the windows or maybe the doors, and that time the tail of the lizard is going to be broken down. And fewer time later, in 15 to 20 days later, you just observing the tail bud generation, and that is called as regeneration. Regeneration is one of the method of reproduction, asexual method of reproduction observed, and it can be present in lower organisms, example planaria, or you can give lizards also, lizards and planaria. And total regeneration is present in planaria, incomplete regeneration is present in lizards. If it detaches its tail structure, then only they can form the regeneration, but rather than any of the other part except the tail, it cannot regenerate its structure. So, that is why planaria is complete regeneration and the lizard is incomplete regeneration. You are going to discuss about the asexual and sexual method of reproduction in second PUC in detail regarding reproduction. So, next is habitat. So, when you come to observe the habitat of an organism, it shows two different type of habitats. One is aquatic mode of living, and the other is terrestrial habitat. See, in aquatic it may be depend on water concentration and also the presence of salts within that. And if the concentration of salt is more, then it become a marine habitat, and the concentration is very low, then it is called as freshwater. Let it be the marine and freshwater. When it comes to aquatic habitat, you can find the presence of floating organisms, free floating organisms, and are called as zooplanktons. And example is Daphnia. Daphnia. You know that meaning of zooplankton, which become the food for next higher group of organisms. And second one is B, which are living in the middle of the water. If you find that this is a water body, few of the organisms are free floating and few will be living in the middle portion of the water and few are present on the floor of the water body. And in this way you can find the difference. If they are found in top of the water body and are called as free floating, and the biological word is zooplanktons, and if they are present in the middle of the water body and are called as nectons. Example is fishes. Almost all fishes are present in the middle of the water body. And the last one is which are present in the on the floor of water body, floor or bed of water body, and are called as benthic organisms. And the example is starfish. See, there is a difference between fishes and starfishes. Starfishes. So fishes are the group of chordate organisms and starfishes are the group of echinoderms. So echinodermata ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಫೈಲಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದೆಲ್ಲ starfishes. And fishes ಅಂದರೆ chordate ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂಥ organisms. And next we will find out the terrestrial group of organisms. And here, if they are having crawling type of habitat, they are some type of organisms, and the example is lizards, lizard group. And next B is fossorial type. Fossorial type of organisms which are burrowing. If they burrow in the soil, burrow within the soil, and the example is earthworm, or you can take rabbit as an example, rat. So these are example of burrowing organisms. And the next is cursorial type of organisms. These are terrestrial one. C, cursorial type, which are fast moving, like horse, cheetah, or maybe deer, black bucks. These are the example. And last one, scansorial type. D, scansorial type. So example is lizard. So the same one A I have given. So these are called as scansorial or crawling type of habitat. And the last D, aerial or arboreal. Arboreal type of organisms. So those are which lives on the top of tree, lives on the top of the tree. Example you can give monkeys, baboons, or maybe birds, squirrels, like this you can give. Arboreal type, scansorial, crawling type of organisms, lizard are the best example. Fossorial type which burrows in the soil, and the example is earthworm. And cursorial type which can run fast. So those are horse, deer, and cheetah are the example. So this is about the general properties regarding habitat. So next we will move to the another important property, which was discussed in the earlier chapters, levels of organization. This was already discussed. I will just give you a brief. Levels of organization. When it comes to levels of organization in animal kingdom, you can find all are multicellular organisms. So here the levels of organization: A, cellular level organization, B, tissue level organization, and C, organ and organ system level of organization. Both are given in one form, organ and organ system level of organization. See, when it comes to all the four different type of levels of organization, you can find the presence of organisms which are multicellular. Here there is no unicellular organism, so all are multicellular. Here also multicellular and here also multicellular. But only the difference is coordination capacity. See, for example, in our digestive system, the cells will make absorption of the food material which is being digested, and that food which is digested will move to the intestine part, and later the cells will make absorption of that material. And in the same way, as the intestinal portion is completely supplied with the blood vessels, numerous blood vessels, the absorbed nutrients will directly sink into the blood cells, and that blood cells will take up those nutrients and later they will move to the other parts of the body and just delivers the nutrients wherever it is required in our body. In this way, there is a coordination between digestive system and also the circulatory system. Or you can match with the excretory system also. Excretory system and the blood circulatory system is of different systems, but still there is a presence of coordination between these two. As the excretion will take place by the excretory system, but the materials which are required for excretion should be supplied from all the parts of body parts to the kidney only by blood cells. So here only one transport system is blood, that will take up the waste material throughout the body and just delivers the waste material into the kidney, or otherwise you can say excretory system. If the kidney is saying I am not able to eliminate, then what will be the condition of the waste material? Or otherwise the blood will say that I am not able to transport these materials, then what will be the condition for excretion and elimination? So that is why this is called as coordination, where they require a synchronized activity of all the systems which are present in the multicellular organisms. So when it comes to the levels of organization, here in cellular level of organization, even these are multicellular, but it forms only the cell aggregates, and all the cells are present. Different type of cells are also be there, but they cannot have the capacity to coordinate themselves to perform any one function, and the functions which are performed by one cell will not be dependent on other cell, and that work cannot be done by other cell also. So that is why in cellular level of organization, the organisms involved here will be the multicellular only, but there is no coordination in these type of organisms. No coordination. An example for this is poriferans, the first organisms and the phyla. Poriferans. Next, in case of tissue level of organization, here also there will be a multicellular organisms where you can take the presence of coordination between the cells. As you know that tissue is a group of cells and it will perform one function. A group of different cells will perform one function and is called tissue, where a group of different cells will coordinate themselves to bring one function. So that's why there will be a presence of coordination in the multicellular organisms, and that forms the tissue level organization. Here it comes the coelenterate one. I have taken the budding as an example in Hydra. Cnidarians are the best examples of tissue level organization. And the last is organ and organ system level of organization. Here any one organ is required to bring one function in case of lower organisms. But when it comes to higher level organisms, they require many of the different organs grouped together to become organ system, and later it brings one function. So in that type of method where organ will turn into organ system and then it brings one physiology or one function, and that type of level of organization is called organ or organ system level of organization, and it can be present in the next higher group of organisms which comes later by Annelida. Here also there will be a presence of complete coordination, and it will be present between the organ and organ systems. Organ and organ system. Later the organisms which come after Annelida will be the example. Annelida to Chordata. So when you find the phyla and its chart, you will be able to know the levels of organization in detail. The first one will be Porifera, next one will be Coelenterata and are also called as Cnidarians, and Ctenophora. The next is Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and later on Hemichordata, Chordata. So, ಈ ಥರ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ 10 ಫೈಲಾಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ನೋಡೋಣ ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ Annelida ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಪ್ ಟು Chordate. This is the last phyla what we are going to discuss. So up to here there will be a presence of organ or organ system level of organization. So here this completes the different properties in general. Then later in the next session we are going to find out the different properties only exhibited by the animal groups. So that will take the criteria, each and one every criteria with the example, and will analyze with the diagram properly. Okay. Thank you dear students.